Today on the Transplant Helper, we're going to be discussing the 7 signs that you just might be in liver failure. Now, you may not see this as being important to you. And by the way, about a week ago, I didn't either, but I promise you this is worth watching and something you need to be aware of. So go ahead and stay tuned. Hey, Transplant Helper community, my name is Jim Merle, and I certainly want to invite you to stop today and sit down with me and watch this program carefully, maybe even take a few notes, maybe even leave a few comments below, because I would love to hear about any or all of your experiences that you might have concerning the topic. And today's discussion is all about the liver, okay? Whether it's fatty liver, cirrhosis of the liver, liver disease, liver failure, that's what we're talking about today. And I'm going to be helping you out by giving you basically the 7 major signs that you can put together and make a discovery that you might be dealing with one of these issues. Okay, now this didn't seem like a very big deal to me up until about a week ago. I felt ill. I thought I had basically the flu or a stomach bug or something like that. I went into clinic, had a full workup, and it was eventually discovered that I have now cirrhosis of the liver, and it comes as a direct result of some of the transplant medications I'm on, probably some of the same medications you're on as well, at least for a period of time. And it goes along with the damage that is done. Now, they warn us when we're going through the transplant process, at least hopefully they did, that these drugs that we take, they're dangerous and they can cause problems for us, and they can cause problems particularly when it comes to either your liver or your kidneys. And in my case, I've been good on both for a long time, but things have changed just a bit. Now, as I was in the clinic the other day, just for that kind of full checkup to make sure I wasn't having the flu or something like that, the doctors went through a bunch of different numbers, and they immediately noticed that my bilirubin levels were very, very elevated. Now, that's just one of the markers, one of the things that go along with having a liver problem. And when they told me about it, I basically stopped them dead in their tracks and said, oh no, remember, you don't have to worry about that because I have Gilbert's, which is, I think it's either Gilbert's syndrome or Gilbert's disease. But basically all it is the fact that you do have higher bilirubin levels and you just might look yellow sometimes. Yellow of the skin, yellowing of the eye whites of the eyes, that sort of thing. I've been dealing with that for almost 20 years, okay? And it goes along with being fatigued, maybe not eating right, not sleeping well, being sick. Any of that can kind of trigger me to be yellow, and I just turn yellow. So I wasn't concerned about that at all. But the doctor I happened to be seeing that day, for whatever reason, he pointed out there on the screen that my levels are always elevated, but today they were actually double of my normal elevated level. So he was concerned about that. He sent me down for an echo of my belly, my liver, my kidneys, just everything down there. He wanted me to get checked out. And it basically came back later on that afternoon, and they were telling me that I had cirrhosis of the liver. Of course, as you can imagine, after dealing with heart failure and heart transplant, you don't want to hear the word cirrhosis of the liver. Now, they actually told me that mine was moderate, albeit it had a marked change since 2014. So moderate, it's not the worst, it's not the best case scenario, right there in the middle, but the marked change is what matters. And that is because since 2014, when they did other scans just like that, got baselines, they see a marked change, or one that stands out in what was then versus what is now. So I'm definitely dealing with some level of cirrhosis of the liver. And I immediately began to ask, what's the signs, the symptoms? Why am I dealing with this? What made you think I was dealing with this? And so forth. And so I'm going to give you 7 of those very quickly. And I hope that you can look through these and just kind of file them away in your mind. Be on the lookout. And this is not to be, scaring anybody, not to be worrying anybody, but we do need to be aware of what the potentials are. Again, because this is caused for me. I've never drank a drop in my life of any alcohol of any sort. It's being caused by the medications that I have to be on. Things like Prograf, things like at one point in time, those prednisone, that steroid, things like Valsite that I was on early on post-transplant. Those drugs have caused this to happen. So here we go. Number 1, first sign that you're going to notice is the yellow skin. And I've already mentioned that. You can't have yellowing skin, yellow around the whites of the eyes, that sort of thing. That could be a sign that you're in liver failure or have some sort of liver disease. And again, it could be fatty liver, they might call it. It could be all the way up to cirrhosis, like they're calling mine. But watch for yellow skin. Number 2, you have to keep in mind that another sign and symptom, which I happen to be dealing with, is itchy skin. And I mean just abnormally itchy, not related to any rash, not related to anything you you can see just in general, just having itchy skin. And that's caused by several different things. It could be caused by several different things, but it's basically caused here because my skin is particularly dry, because my liver is not producing the right chemicals, particularly bile, which will cause fats to be broken down. If fats aren't broken down, so they go throughout your bloodstream, your skin gets dry, you get itchy. So that's the second sign here, and I've dealt with that. And I blame it on other things, but this is probably what it is. Number 3, you can be dealing with extreme fatigue. And of course, for me, it's hard to notice fatigue because I've been a congenital heart patient all my life, a transplant patient now for 5.5 years, heart transplant, mind you. And so I've always dealt with fatigue. And so for me to be tired, for me to be worn out, whatever, it's just the norm. To have 5 children, 3 of them under 4 years old, yeah, it's just the norm. But anyway, could be the fact that my liver is not right. So I'm dealing with fatigue. Number 4, you could be dealing with bloating, okay? And I'm like that. I'm skinny as a rail. I don't know if you can ever tell in any of these videos. I have little teeny tiny wrists, hardly no fat on my body, except at times I'm very bloated right in the belly area, okay? Just the belly, nowhere else. It can lead to swelling in the ankles and other parts of your body. For me, it's not. Just the bloated or swelled belly. I get that sometimes, especially right after a meal. It could be, and it is in my case, particularly is the liver and the cirrhosis. So that's just another one of the signs and symptoms. Number 5, constipation could be a problem for us if you're dealing with some sort of liver failure. Again, if your liver's not functioning right, especially if it's not able to help to break down the fats that you take in your body, you're going to have constipation because you're not really, how do I say it, other than to be nasty, you're not really greased up. It's not processing the food fast enough and getting it through your body quickly enough, and so you can become constipated. I haven't actually dealt with that, but the reason behind that, probably why I haven't, is I take many medications that causes looser stools or diarrhea even. Not every day, but yeah, you take the medicine, you already understand that. So kind of I've got a medication going in that's preventing that. Particularly for me, I take magnesium supplements because my magnesium is always low. So I'm not dealing with constipation, but it could be there. It could be a problem if you're dealing with some sort of liver problems. Now, number 6, kind of related to that, nausea. And this is one of the signs that came up the other day. I thought I had the stomach flu, the stomach bug, the stomach virus, and I was very, very nauseated. I didn't ever throw up, but I was nauseated, and I thought that's what it was. Turns out it has to do with my cirrhosis of the liver. So nausea and even vomiting, which I never did vomit. I usually don't vomit, but vomiting could be a sign of that. Obviously, if you're nauseated, that could lead to vomiting, and that could be a sign that you're in liver failure. Number 7, and this is the last one I'll give you for today, headaches. And I'm not talking about the migraines that I have sometimes. I'm not talking about headaches related to any other thing. I'm talking about the liver itself. If it's not functioning properly, you can have headaches because many of the jobs of the liver is to break down those fats, but also to clear out some of those toxins. They work very closely with your spleen as well as later on your kidneys to clean toxins and remove toxins from your body. And when that's not being done effectively, those toxins kind of go where they want to, eventually can come out throughout your bloodstream, end up in your head and cause some pain. So headaches for me have been a problem. And again, because I've always been a migraine sufferer and I've always been blaming these sinus headaches, I didn't really notice it. So for me, these 7 signs really hit home. When they saw on the scans, yeah, you're dealing with moderate cirrhosis with a marked change. These 7 signs really hit home. So again, I'll remind you of what they are. Yellow skin, itchy skin, fatigue, bloating, constipation, nausea or vomiting and headaches. Those are your signs. I'm not trying to scare anybody, so please, if you've got any or all of these symptoms, don't immediately think you got cirrhosis. That just says, hey, this might really matter. Let's go to the doctor, have my body checked over, make sure there's nothing going on, and make sure it can be dealt with. I'm going to do a video later on in the week, hopefully, with how you can help your liver to be healthy, some of the diet changes I'm planning to make, that sort of thing, and maybe that'll help you as well. But for today, this is all. So until next time, stay stronger, friends.